In the heart of Africa, where the land stretches wide and wild, there lies a place untouched by the rush of city life. Here, the earth breathes quietly, and the wind whispers through tall grasses, carrying stories as old as time itself. Nestled among rolling hills and endless savanna, there was a quiet village, its homes built from mud and straw, blending perfectly with the land. The village seemed to rest in a gentle embrace, far from the noise and worries of the outside world. Each morning the sun rose early, painting the sky with strokes of gold and pink. The first light touched every rooftop and tree, waking the village with a soft, warm glow. Dew sparkled on the grass, and the air felt fresh and full of promise. Children gathered under the shade of tall, ancient trees, their laughter ringing out as they played simple games. Their joy was pure and infectious, filling the village with energy and hope. In the fields, farmers worked together, tending to rows of green crops. Men and women moved with practiced hands, planting, watering, and harvesting. Their hard work fed the village and brought everyone closer together. Birds sang sweetly from the treetops, their melodies blending with the gentle sounds of daily life, goats bleating, tools clinking, and the soft hum of conversation. Life moved slowly here, but it was a happy, contented pace. As the sun set, families gathered around glowing fires. The warmth of the flames brought everyone together, young and old, to share the events of the day. They shared food, bowls of steaming yams, fresh fruit, and roasted maize. Laughter and stories filled the air as elders passed down wisdom and children listened wide-eyed to tales of heroes and spirits. The air was always warm, filled with the delicious smell of cooked yams and sweet fruit. The scent drifted through the village, inviting everyone to gather and enjoy the simple pleasures of a meal shared with loved ones. Peace lived in this village. People felt safe, knowing their neighbors would help in times of need. Children ran freely, and everyone looked out for one another. The village was surrounded by thick, mysterious forests. Tall trees stood like silent guardians, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. Sometimes, a gentle mist would rise, making the forest seem even more magical. These forests were full of life, monkeys swinging from branch to branch, colorful birds darting through the leaves, and sometimes, clever animals with secrets of their own. Antelope grazed quietly, and the sounds of the wild were never far away. The villagers believed the forest held magic. They told stories of spirits and ancient protectors, and sometimes left small offerings at the forest's edge, hoping for good fortune and protection. This was a place where everyone knew each other by name. Greetings were warm, and kindness was shown in small, everyday acts, like children helping elders or neighbors sharing what they had. Trust and kindness were the heart of the village. People worked together, celebrated together, and faced challenges as one. Their friendships were strong, built on years of shared memories and mutual respect. But even in such a happy place, trouble could sometimes grow. Dark clouds might gather on the horizon, and the wind would carry whispers of change. Yet, the villagers faced every challenge with hope, knowing that together, they could overcome anything. In a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived a man named Obasi. The village was small, with mud brick houses and thatched roofs, surrounded by the sounds of birds and the laughter of children playing in the dusty paths. Life here moved at a gentle pace, and everyone knew each other's names and stories. Obasi stood out among the villagers. He was tall and strong, with broad shoulders and arms shaped by years of hard work. His presence was commanding, and people often paused to watch him as he walked by, admiring his strength and confidence. Obasi was not just any man, he was the village's most skilled hunter. With his sharp eyes, he could spot the faintest movement in the thickest brush. His quick feet carried him silently through the forest, making him almost invisible to the animals he pursued. The other hunters looked up to him, hoping to learn from his skill and bravery. He could track any animal in the forest, no matter how clever or elusive. The villagers respected Obasi deeply, often gathering to hear stories of his hunts. Children would sit at his feet, wide-eyed, as he described the dangers and excitement of the wild. Every time Obasi returned from the forest, he brought back fresh meat for his family. His wife and children never went hungry, and his neighbors often received gifts of meat from his hunts. Obasi's generosity was well known, and his family was proud of him. His house was larger than most in the village, built with sturdy walls and a wide roof. Obasi wore the best clothes, made from fine fabrics that set him apart from others. His success as a hunter brought him comfort and respect. Many villagers wished they could be like Obasi. Young men dreamed of becoming strong hunters, and even elders admired his achievements. But despite all this admiration, Obasi felt a restlessness inside. He wanted more than what he already had. Even with his large house, fine clothes, and the respect of his people, Obasi was not happy. He often sat alone, staring into the distance, feeling a sense of emptiness that nothing seemed to fill. Each time he caught a big animal, he immediately began to dream of catching an even bigger one. The thrill of the hunt faded quickly, replaced by a hunger for more. No matter how much he achieved, it never seemed enough. Obasi would count his goats and chickens every day, watching his wealth grow. Yet as he counted, his mind wandered to thoughts of owning even more animals, of becoming the richest man in the village. He dreamed of endless herds and flocks, believing that more would finally bring him happiness. But as his dreams grew, so did his worries. Obasi's heart grew heavy with greed. He began to fear losing what he had, and the joy he once felt from hunting and sharing faded away. He did not smile much anymore. The laughter that once filled his home grew quiet, replaced by long silences and distant looks. His family noticed the change, but Obasi could not explain the emptiness he felt. Obasi started to think only of himself and what he could get next. The more he focused on his own desires, the more alone he felt. His heart, once full of pride and joy, now carried the heavy burden of wanting more than he needed. Obasi's greed began to change him. He no longer shared his meat with his neighbors. When people came to him for help, he turned them away. He hid his food, afraid someone would take it. He went deeper into the forest each day. He wanted to find rare animals and secret treasures. Obasi believed happiness would come if he just had more things. The other villagers noticed the change. Children whispered that Obasi used to smile at them, but now he only looked for what he could take. Even his family felt his coldness. Obasi's house grew bigger, but his heart grew smaller. He forgot the joy of sharing and the warmth of community. One evening, the village elders called Obasi. They sat under the ancient baobab tree, their faces serious. The oldest elder spoke, "Obasi, you have many gifts, but greed can turn gifts into curses." Obasi listened, but his eyes wandered. He wanted the meeting to end quickly. The elders warned him, "If you forget to share, the spirits of the forest may not bless you anymore. Greed brings sadness, not joy." Obasi nodded, but he felt he knew better. He laughed quietly to himself as he walked away. He thought, "I am clever. I can find more than anyone else, and I do not need help." But the elders shook their heads. They had seen greed before, and they knew the pain it could bring. One hot, sweltering afternoon, Obasi, a skilled hunter known throughout his village, ventured deep into the heart of the forest. The sun blazed overhead, casting golden rays through the thick canopy, and the air was heavy with the scent of earth and leaves. Obasi's footsteps were slow and deliberate as he moved further away from the familiar paths, determined to bring home something special for his family. For hours, Obasi searched tirelessly, his sharp eyes scanning every bush and tree for signs of game. But luck was not on his side that day. The animals seemed to have vanished, and the forest was eerily quiet except for the distant calls of birds. His stomach rumbled with hunger, and his hands grew weary from gripping his spear. Despite his best efforts, he found nothing to show for his long journey. Exhausted, frustrated, and feeling defeated, Obasi finally slumped down beside a large, cool rock that offered a patch of shade. He wiped the sweat from his brow and let out a heavy sigh, his mind swirling with disappointment and anger at his misfortune. The forest, which once felt alive with promise, now seemed to mock him with its silence. Just as Obasi was about to close his eyes and rest, he heard a faint rustling in the underbrush nearby. To his surprise, a small tortoise slowly emerged, its movements calm and unhurried. The tortoise made its way toward him, as if it had been searching for Obasi all along. The tortoise's shell glimmered in the dappled sunlight, catching Obasi's attention. It looked almost magical, with patterns that seemed to shift and dance as the light played across its back. Suddenly, to Obasi's utter shock, the tortoise lifted its head and spoke in a gentle, wise voice. "Why are you sad, great hunter?" Obasi's eyes widened in disbelief, and he stared at the creature, unable to comprehend what he was witnessing. Never in his life had Obasi seen, let alone heard, an animal speak. He blinked, wondering if the heat and exhaustion were playing tricks on his mind, but the tortoise waited patiently, its eyes kind and understanding. Gathering his courage, Obasi confessed, "I want more food, more treasure. I am never satisfied, no matter how much I have." The tortoise listened quietly, a knowing smile spreading across its face, as if it had heard such wishes many times before. "I can help you," the tortoise replied, its voice filled with wisdom and a hint of mystery. Obasi leaned in, curiosity and hope flickering in his tired eyes. "I have a magical pot," the tortoise continued, nudging a small, beautifully decorated clay pot into the sunlight. The pot seemed to glow with a soft, enchanting light, as if it held secrets within. "This pot will give you food whenever you wish," the tortoise explained. "No matter how hungry you are, it will always provide. You will never go without again." Obasi's heart raced with excitement and disbelief. He could hardly believe his luck, but the tortoise's voice grew serious as it added, "But you must promise to use it only when you truly need it. Greed can bring trouble, even with magic." Obasi nodded eagerly, his mind already racing with dreams of endless feasts and riches. Without a second thought, Obasi agreed to the promise, his thoughts consumed by the magical pot and all it could bring him. He barely considered the tortoise's warning, focused only on the possibilities that now lay before him. The tortoise gave Obasi a beautiful clay pot. "Remember," said the tortoise, "only use it when you need. If you become greedy, the magic will leave." Obasi nodded. He thanked the tortoise and hurried home. That night, he whispered to the pot, "Pot, I am hungry." At once the pot filled with delicious food. Obasi was amazed. For many days, he used the pot only when he needed. He shared some food with his family. Life seemed perfect, and Obasi felt powerful. But slowly, Obasi's old greed returned. He wanted more food than he could eat. He wanted to show the pot to others and boast. The promise to the tortoise faded from his mind. Obasi began to use the pot again and again. He asked for more food, more meat, and more sweets. He did not share with the hungry children or the poor villagers. He bragged about his magic pot. He ate alone, while others in the village went hungry. Obasi's heart was filled with pride. He forgot his promise to the tortoise. One night he called to the pot, "Give me a mountain of food." But the pot stayed empty. Surprised, he tried again and again. Still, no food came. Obasi became afraid. He shook the pot and shouted at it, but the magic was gone. His greed had taken everything away. Obasi ran back to the forest, searching for the tortoise. He found the wise tortoise under the same shady rock. "Please, give back the magic," Obasi begged. The tortoise looked at him with kind eyes. "You broke your promise," it said. "You let greed control your heart. The magic is lost because you did not use it with care." Obasi hung his head in shame. He thought about the elder's words. He realized that his greed had brought him sadness, not joy. The tortoise spoke softly. "Blessings are for sharing. Greed destroys them. Remember this lesson, Obasi." With that, the tortoise disappeared into the green shadows. Obasi returned to his village, a changed man. He told everyone what had happened. He warned children and adults never to let greed take over their hearts. The elders nodded. They told Obasi's story at every fire. Children listened, and families remembered to share their food and kindness. The story of the greedy hunter and the talking tortoise lived on. It was told again and again, each time ending with the tortoise's wise words. So, in that peaceful village, and in many others, people learned. Greed can destroy even the greatest blessings, but kindness and care will always bring true happiness.